Hi, my name is Dinneen, and I am the creator of the Retrain Back Pain Program. I'm hosting a retreat at the beautiful Imiloa Institute in Costa Rica, February 3rd to the 8th. And I acknowledge that one of the barriers to getting on a retreat and really starting to rehab, retrain, and recover from your back pain situation is how are you going to get from wherever you live to the retreat center in Costa Rica. So today I'm offering you tips for traveling with back pain, and it's based on the 3 P's: prepare, pack, and participate. So the first thing you can do to get ready to travel with back pain is to prepare. The number one rule in the prepare category is don't worry about what other people think. So other people may not be traveling with back pain or major health considerations. So you're going to do what you've got to do and not worry about what it looks like or what other people are thinking of you. That's the first step. The next step in the prepare category is talk to your airlines. If walking long distances is really problematic for you, you may actually ask for a wheelchair, even if you don't really need one. But if that's going to help you take one of the aspects of the challenge out of your commute to the retreat, you can certainly get a wheelchair just to get you on the longest stretch of your airport. I know some airport walks can be very, very lengthy. Another thing you can talk to your airlines about is call them directly to make your reservation, and you can talk to them about which seating options have the most leg room. Whether they're on an aisle or in an exit row, you may do better with a little more space for your flight. Another aspect of preparing for your flight is really dressing for comfort. These days, you can travel through the airport in stretchy elastic waist pants. You can wear layers. I highly recommend wearing flat, wide toe box footwear so that your feet have as much room as possible. And for certain individuals, compression stockings may also be advisable. So those are just some ways you can prepare. Then there's the pack aspect. So one of the main things I want to encourage you to do when you're thinking about coming to Costa Rica is don't overpack. You don't really need much, right? So, a heavy bag is not your friend. So don't pack a heavy bag. Pack light. Less is more when you're packing. If you can get away with checking your bag, that way you can arrive at the airport and you can use a porter, maybe at the curb. And the less you handle your bag, getting in and out of the trunk, getting up and down the curb, getting up and down the steps, hoisting it overhead into the overhead compartment, why don't you just take all that stuff out of the equation and just have other people move your bag for you? It may involve standing around and looking like you need help and waiting for it to arrive, but that's okay. That's okay. Even if you don't normally tip out a luggage porter, or even if you don't normally check your bag. For this particular excursion, go for it, right? Just do whatever you need to do. If you're really planning on traveling the old school way, meaning a wheelie bag and a carry-on bag, here's my advice to you. Let your wheelie bag be as light as possible, so don't overpack it. As you're wheeling it around, number one is try to avoid the stairs, because traveling with a wheelie bag and then hoisting it up a flight of steps, even if it's just 6 steps, can be quite uncomfortable if you've already got back pain. So look around for an escalator or an elevator or someone else to carry your bag up the steps. And then when you're wheeling the bag around, wheel it with some good integrity. Switch arms. You can try pushing it instead of pulling it. Brace your core as you're moving through the airport. You may want to slow down how you're walking so that you can walk with more integrity and find a way to walk that's not aggravating your back if your back hurts when you walk. When it comes to lifting a wheelie bag up over your head to put it in the overhead compartment, this is an area where I would recommend you take all the other bags off your shoulders, whether you put them in your seat or put them on the floor, and then squat down, hug your bag to your chest, use your legs to press back up from your squat, engage your core, lift the bag up to about your shoulders or your nose, and then kind of throw it into the overhead luggage compartment. That's if you have to, right? There's 200 people on a plane. If you say, can you help me with this bag, to the nearest strapping, athletic-looking person, anybody is going to help you put your bag overhead. So don't be heroic and just ask for help. Just ask somebody else to put your bag in the overhead compartment, okay? When it comes to your carry-on bag, whether that's your purse or your backpack, I highly recommend using a backpack instead of an overstuffed tote on one shoulder. So if you have the option to wear a backpack, wear it on both shoulders, and you can wear it on the front, or you could wear it on the back, or you could alternate. And again, don't overpack your backpack. Don't make it too heavy. If you have the option to put your backpack on your wheelie bag, if you're taking a wheelie carry-on bag, you can do that as well. But again, I recommend using a porter, having your driver or your partner or whoever's taking you to the airport get your bag in and out of the car, have a porter get your bag checked in, and just don't deal with the wheelie bag thing. That's my recommendation. Also, under the umbrella of packing, you can bring things on your flight that are going to help you be more comfortable. So you want some lumbar support. And sure, you can bring a lumbar pillow, but did you know that you can also get battery-operated heating pads from Amazon.com? So if you're one of those people who feels much better when you've got heat on your back and you got a couple hours to fly, it might be a good idea to pick up one of these battery-operated heating pads. They're like $20 to $60. The other thing I would not leave home without is some therapy balls to travel with. And so if you go on my website, retrainbackpain.com, you'll see a products tab, or you can go down to the footer and look at the Tune Up Fitness retail shop that I have on my website. There's two different types of balls. There's the smaller rubber balls, and then there's the air-filled ball. And I actually recommend that you get a set of classic-sized therapy balls, a pair, and a Courgeous ball. The Courgeous ball is the air-filled one, and you can leave it mostly deflated with just a little air in it, and it's just the most wonderful lumbar support. So you don't need to bring a pillow. You can bring a deflatable ball and inflate it or deflate it as much as your car seat or your office chair or your airplane seat requires. So that's the Courgeous ball, available on my website. If you already have a set of yoga tune-up therapy balls or tune-up fitness therapy balls, you can use those therapy balls, bring them with you in your carry-on, and just slide them behind your back when you sit in your seat. You can start with them around mid-lumbar, and then you can just do a little wiggle squiggle and give yourself a little massage, and then just use them as a lumbar support. And then in 15 minutes later, you move the balls a little bit higher or a little bit lower. You can align them horizontally or vertically on your spine. And you can, during the course of the flight, you can just sort of wiggle and move and use the balls to help massage you while you fly, right? It's really quite nice. The other advantage of the Courgeous ball, by the way, is if you have a window seat, which I don't recommend in this situation, but you can use the Courgeous ball as a pillow on the window seat. But more than likely, another part of traveling is you're going to want to move around a lot, right? And so that takes us to the third P, which is participate. So you want to move before, during, and after your flight. That's how you're going to participate in staying well during this travel excursion. So before your flight, it's probably going to be pretty early, but before your flight, take the time to do a little movement practice. Do whatever makes you feel good. If that means, taking a walk, make sure you make time the morning of your flight to take that walk. If it's stretching or strengthening or whatever you've determined is going to help you prep, you want to do that movement practice before you get to the airport. If you have a long drive, take your time getting out of the car and give yourself time before you rush over to the line to check your bags in. Just go to a corner of the airport where nobody's going to notice you. And again, ground yourself and do whatever movements you need to do to get yourself right again for the walk through the airport. Very often we rush to get through the baggage portion or the check-in portion and then we end up at our gate, and then we sit. So you've probably got a pretty decent flight ahead of you. It's really not a great idea to be sitting much longer than you need to be sitting, unless that's the only position of comfort for you, right? But if you don't need to sit at the gate, just keep walking around until your boarding time. Or you can take yourself over to a gate in the airport where there's not so many people. If you're more comfortable lying down, you can go ahead and lie down there at an empty gate. Or you can do some exercises or stretches, or if you have your therapy balls, you can do some therapy ball rolling, right? So stay active if active is good for you, for your back. Stay active instead of just sitting at the gate. If sitting is your most comfortable position, go ahead and sit at the gate, but then get up and walk around every 15 minutes, right? Just so you don't get too stiff. Once you're on the flight, I suggest that when you have the opportunity, speak to your attending flight attendant and just let them know, hey, I'm dealing with a back situation and I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to need to walk around, or I'm going to be looking for some place to stand. Whatever you need, go ahead and take a moment when it's convenient for everyone to communicate that with your flight attendant so that they can be an ally for you. And if you need to go stand up near the galley or something, that they're not going to be giving you the dirty eyeball for hanging out with them, right? So communication is your friend for sure. And then the last part of the participate is, let's say you're stuck in your seat, right? So hopefully you've got your therapy balls and you can give yourself a little squiggly massage right there in the seat. I often say that when I fly cross country, therapy balls are my best friend. I get out of my flight feeling better than when I got on my flight because of the therapy balls. So definitely get the therapy balls for your flight. I can't emphasize that enough. And then there's some easy moves you can do in your seat for your flight. You can do a simple cat-cow, right? Just put your hands on your thighs or your knees and stretch up into extension and round into flexion, and do that a few times. You can also do some pelvic tilts or some pelvic circles. You can do some ankle and wrist rotations. You can do an overhead stretch with your arms. I recommend doing that frequently, probably about every 15 minutes. And you can do an overhead stretch to the left and to the right. You can also do a figure 4 stretch. So that's where you cross your ankle over your knee, if that movement is available to you. And you can sort of stretch out your hip. You can do a figure 4 stretch and a cat-cow combination. So when you've got your ankle over your knee, you can add the flexion and extension of your spine. So there's lots of ways to make the most out of this flight, make it not super traumatic, and in fact, make it super active and engaging, and it can be part of your Retrain Back Pain Retreat experience. And if you want to set up a time to speak with me directly about any of this stuff, or if the retreat is appropriate for you, don't hesitate to reach out. That's all for now, and I look forward to seeing you in Costa Rica.